Day tomorrow as well, that you will take home a much better understanding of our operations here in Secunda and to understand how we are walking this journey to our 2030 greenhouse gas reduction targets, and how we remain and optimize our journey to that point, because there are many factors that's at play on this journey, and hopefully you will also get a good understanding of that. Every time I come to Secunda, it is almost like coming home. You know, of my about 40 years with Sasol, I spent a good 8 years in Secunda here at the operations, at the heart of our Sasol plant, doing quite a substantial, implementation of newer technology at the time in the 90s. And it's always with fondness that I reflect on the can-do spirit of the teams we've got here. And I hope that you will see, as Andre has also indicated, that you will get a flavor of that sort of spirit that we've got here in the operational environment in Secunda. So, in the overview today, I would address a couple of things. Some of this you've already you heard that at the full year results. But I think it's important to bring that context again, because we've got a clear storyline that we would like to follow in terms of giving you that full context again. So I'll follow those couple of items that you see on the screen there. That will be my focus. But first of all, I would like to just pause on a sad event that occurred end of last week. And it's with a very heavy heart that I must regrettably convey that on the evening of Friday, 15 September, we tragically lost a member of our team, Mr. Sifiso Matuna, an industrial cleaning supervisor from one of our service providers. And the incident occurred near a conveyor belt at our ash handling facility, and the investigation is currently underway to determine the root cause. We again express our heartfelt condolences to his family. Any loss of life or harm is unacceptable, and we remain resolute in our commitment to creating a caring, sustainable and zero-harm workplace. And as I move now into our safety focus, it is for me also important to give you a much deeper understanding of what our current focus is and how we think about safety in Sasol. So safety is and it remains our foremost priority in everything we do at Sasol. Our high severity incidents program, or HSI in short, underpins our safety journey, and it plays a critical role in identifying and addressing potential hazards that could lead to grave consequences. As shared during our results, we have seen a decrease in our high severity incident rate. And that is due to this HSI program that we started implementing in 2017 already. The program is a key response to mitigating our group top risks dedicated to safety, health and environment. Its roots can be tracked back to the triangle within the triangle concept, which remains highly relevant. The idea is to focus on eliminating fatalities and high severity injuries or incidents. And there are 5 key areas that underpins this HSI program, and I'll cover some of them quickly. The first focus area is on pre-task risk assessment, which entails identifying, mitigating, and communicating hazards before tasks are executed. Field verification or critical controls entails simplifying and providing guidance on verifying critical controls to better manage our operational top risks. The second focus area is elevating rules and associated behaviors to prevent serious injuries and fatalities through our life-saving rules. And in the operating environment that we are, there are key life-saving rules that we've identified, working from mines, working in contained areas, etc. And thus, it is actually our guardrails for safety, thou shalt comply with life-saving rules, because we care. Thirdly, we focus on institutionalizing learnings by sharing and embedding key incident learnings to eliminate repeat incidents from control failures and conducting the required training. Understanding and influencing human behavior by focusing on systems, technology and processes, as well as understanding and influencing human behavior to improve safety performance is the fourth focus area. Ladies and gentlemen, we have over 22,000 people in South Africa, mostly in this operation. We've got another about double that amount service providers that work with us every day. We had last year in September, we had 55,000 additional workers on site to do the total shutdown on the East plant. Imagine that number of people that we need to work safely in this environment. It is not a small task, but our people are up to it, and it is about understanding also the human psyche in this journey to be able to influence the hearts and minds also of the people that come to site. So in this last financial year, we focused on continuing embedding the HSI program. This financial year, we are continuing to further embed and enhance the maturity of our HSI program as it serves as the backbone for improving our sheep performance. We have continued leadership engagements as leader behavior, starting from me, informed by their beliefs, sets the tone of a safety climate in which employees work. We are actively embedding fit-for-purpose leading indicator monitoring and reporting to further enhance our safety measures. And this approach, anchored on the key elements of our HSI program, serves as a predictive lever to effectively manage our safety risk. Moving on to the concept I mentioned, humanizing safety. Under my leadership, we started to focus on this element, which I believe is a key element of the human psyche. Our approach to humanizing safety is a group-wide focus area in driving our safety culture to look beyond safety statistics and systems and to acknowledge each team member as a person with their own context and surrounding circumstances, both privately and work-related. Humanizing safety is centered around caring deeply for our people and placing their safety first. It facilitates a shift from compliance-led safety to leading safety because we care. Humanizing safety is all about connections with our people and is centered on key values of Sasol. And I'm going to name three for this example. To be safe, by always placing the safety of people first. Be caring, by caring deeply for our people, planet and communities. And be accountable, by owning our results. In practice, this means we maintain high standards and the entire workforce relentlessly pursues the identification and remediation of hazards. Employees at all levels are equally comfortable stopping each other when at-risk behavior is observed. I gave a mandate to each and every employee in this company to stop work at their command when observing an unsafe practice, because that is the right thing to do. Employees at all levels are equally comfortable, as I mentioned, to stop this work, and no one is blamed for near misses or incidents because we seek to improve. Any fear which drives underreporting and stifles involvement is being driven out of our culture. We cannot tolerate that in our culture. We are there to learn and to improve, and we transparently report near misses so that we can improve to prevent HSI activities going wrong. Safety is integrated in our day-to-day work and our successes are celebrated along the way. So that gives you a flavor of what we mean with humanizing safety. So through this, our focus remains on showing care through every layer of influence instead of compliance-driven approach only. Last week's tragic fatality again reminds me personally that our journey to zero harm is a never-ending one. Every action we take, every decision we make must be in alignment with our commitment to zero harm. Together, Team Sasol continues to create safer workplaces where each one of us can thrive, knowing that our safety is paramount as we work at Sasol. So I'm going to focus on now some of the business realities that we are busy with, and I shared a number of these with you at results. We elaborated at the time on the distinct set of factors which contributed to our performance for this last period. These challenges are still very real for us. We have highlighted the specific operational challenges we faced, as well as the mitigation actions that we have taken in the areas within our control. Over the next 2 days, we will unpack the operational challenges as well as our mitigation actions in a lot more detail. Looking at the operating environment, a combination of a few material focus and factors continues to pose near-term risk to our business. This includes global economic volatility, headwinds on demand and pricing, particularly in our chemicals business. We reviewed as recent as yesterday the chemicals market, and there are areas that shows signs of bottoming out, but there are other areas that we still see no recovery yet, and that is a concern for us. Alongside with persistent inflation and elevated feedstock and energy costs that seems to prevail longer. In South Africa specifically, uncertain regulatory environment and other business impediments such as persistent load shedding and infrastructure constraints, in particular, the mediocre performance of our national provider of rail and port services remains prevalent. As I said previously, I believe it is important to be specific about these areas of uncertainty as we move forward, but it's also important to keep them in the perspective of how we deal with them, because we are making progress in many areas. I would firstly reiterate that we have constructive dialogue around these issues across a range of stakeholders, and secondly, we are progressing well in making our business more resilient. Our mitigation actions are driving better performance in areas like Secunda operation amongst others, and we see more resilience with our ability to reset and as we move to more aggressive Sasol 2.0 targets. We remain committed to our Sasol strategy shared at the Capital Markets Day in September of 21, where we identified a path to realize our net zero ambition along 3 horizons. Reset our current business to enable us to transition and ultimately reinvent ourselves to a more sustainable company. At the time, certain assumptions of what the world would look like and how Sasol would perform underpinned these horizons. Since then, our operating reality has changed dramatically. Also, the global context has changed dramatically with the war in Ukraine and other world events that spurred along inflation and the recessionary environment. As emphasized during our results announcement, we believe we are on the right strategic pathway, although the macroeconomy has not developed in the way that we or others anticipated at that time. Therefore, we are taking stock of our current reality, and while intensifying our attention on priority actions to deliver on the reset phase of our strategy. And that's why we're doubling down in many areas, and I hope to share much more with you in the next 2 days on that front. This will help us to create that financial headroom to self-fund our transition and progress our long-term goals while continuously calibrating that against our means and the affordability of our transition. Moving on to what have we delivered. We have made good progress in delivering against these reset agenda items, and I would like to highlight a couple of points there. In the past year, we remained committed in stabilizing our business through our operational mitigation plans and have seen timely progress in this regard with improved mining productivity in the second half of the last financial year, higher availability of natural gas, and Secunda production for the year higher than the prior year, despite the planned East factory shutdown that I referred to, where we had 55,000 people on this site. The 2030 greenhouse gas reduction roadmap, we've also progressed, and I will share some more highlights shortly. It remains critical to double down our efforts to deliver on the reset phase of our strategy to really ensure that we have a business that is resilient as possible under a very volatile macro environment and with a robust balance sheet to support it. Looking ahead, there are several key areas where we must maintain relentless focus. The safety of our people remains a top priority. We will continue our operational discipline focus and our reliability improvement initiatives. I'm confident that the ongoing interventions at our mining operations to mitigate poorer coal quality and low productivity will result in improved performance in this area over time. Given the impact of the external operating environment, we needed to intensify our efforts to remain resilient, profitable and cash generative. And we have therefore increased our Sasol 2.0 targets for the financial year 24 and 25 for cash fixed cost and gross margin improvement by more than 20%. This amounts to an additional 4 billion rand in annual EBITDA enhancements by FY25. With regards to our sustainability journey, there is more work to be done to refine some of our levers up to 2030, to optimize capital spend, balance sheet demand and decarbonize, and to balance demand and decarbonize sustainably in that effort. Sasol's roadmap to 2030 is underpinned by the principles of a just transition and considering all the push and pull factors and the context of the national circumstances in Southern Africa. Delivery of these focus areas will improve business outcomes and ultimately provide for sustainable shareholder returns. Moving on to our roadmap as presented in the past. Some of the more pertinent aspects here is the progress we are making towards our greenhouse gas reduction targets of 2030. And tomorrow, Sarushan Pillay will unpack progress in a lot more detail as well as how we address environmental sustainability holistically. Allow me to highlight the key milestones that we saw the past year. Suffice to say, you can read it all there. It is about our renewable energy focus. We've signed up more than 600 megawatt of renewable power purchase agreements. We have launched the Senge Mjoni wind farm in the Eastern Cape. Construction has commenced there. That is going to bring us 69 megawatt into our Sasolburg operations. And we have built a 3 megawatt solar farm in Sasolburg, which will facilitate and assist with our green hydrogen project, which includes the retrofit of existing electrolyzer. And we are immensely proud that in this year, as we've indicated, we produced the first green hydrogen in our Sasolburg operations. And once the Masenge wheat farm, together with the Sasolburg solar farm, are operational, which we believe is by next year, that will produce sufficient renewable power so that we can ratably produce green hydrogen from our Sasolburg facility. As mentioned previously, our gas drilling campaign is making steady progress in Mozambique, and it's becoming increasingly important for our transition. And with the plateau that we've extended from 2026 to 2028 and the focus that we've got in additional near-field acreage and opportunities will give us optionality to even further extend that plateau going into the future and beyond 2030. The recent onshore discovery that we had with the PT5C exploration block also has potential, but we need to now work and de-risk that prospect to really deliver a resource that we can employ going forward. We've progressed our suite of projects to unlock energy efficiency benefits, some of which involves innovative solutions by looking at things, integration possibilities, new type of sustainable feedstock, and all of those activities we are doing, which is leveraged by our in-house research and technology teams. We announced at our annual results that the first production of the low sulfur 10 ppm diesel out of our Natref refinery in Sasolburg has commenced in June of this year. And we remain on track to meet the Clean Fuels 2 compliance specifications in due course. Moving now to our focus on sustainability in the world. And we have to make sure that we are not hampered from our commitment to prioritizing an affordable and sustainable transition of our business, because the transition is required to remain sustainable. It is both. You can't just think you can be sustainable. You have to ensure sustainability is one thing by reducing your greenhouse gas, but you also have to, on a monetary basis, remain sustainable after you've done that. And that is one of the aspects that we say we are faced with what is commonly known as the energy trilemma. And it's imperative that we invest in the energy transition itself, but simultaneously also consider our commitments to today's energy needs that's required largely shaped currently by oil and gas. Swift action in this area is required, as we must equally recognize the importance of our needs and affordability of the transition. And we have seen a few shifts in strategy from our peers in recent months in response to some of these challenges, with most reaffirming the need to have value accretive and demand-driven energy transition to achieve those goals they've set. Our triple bottom line focus of people, planet and profit remains intact. And as I said earlier, we need to create financial headroom to self-fund our transition and progress our long-term goals while continuously calibrating that against our means and affordability. So, what are the key takeaways we want to leave you with at the end of these visits? Over the next 2 days, mining and the operations areas in Secunda, we hope that you would, after your intense observations, Q&A, clarifications, we wish you to leave here on Friday with the following key takeaways. First, mining operation, know that safety, discipline remains key for us, and that productivity improvements are advancing, and we are progressing our coal quality solutions. Confidence that reliability actions are continuing at our Secunda operations, where mitigation plans will result in volume upside as we implement these initiatives. And we remain committed to our environmental compliance. Lastly, understanding our 2030 roadmap refinements, the flexibility being provided by positive gas drilling results, and that we keep our promise with producing the first green hydrogen at Sasolburg in accordance with plan. And I hope that you also have a bit of enjoyable part of the experience, and in addition to the robust discussion, that we can relax tonight over a glass of wine or a beer to have a more informal discussion. And so today at mining is the focus, and with that in mind, I'm going to now hand over to Herman Benold, our SVP Mining, and also our designate EVP as of 1 November this year. Herman, over to you.